Okay, back again. The Technical Engineering Graphics course. Today I'd like to show you and teach you how to basically build some solid primitives and to then to constrain them so they're actually sized and located. As you can see here, I have a file called primitives open here. It is a part as illustrated through here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a plane. It really doesn't matter which one. Pick a horizontal plane here and start a new sketch. Okay. Notice we come into the sketcher icon box here. Notice on the sketch toolbars that the grid and the grid snap is on. Again, for me, I like them not to be on. Notice here's my location of my origin. Flipping into here kind of gives you a perspective of where you're at and where you think you might be. So again, vertical is up here. So let's just start off here. I want to pull some of these toolbars over here, the sketch toolbar here, the profile toolbar, excuse me. I'm also going to pull over here, drag this down. Oops. Now I'm going to pull this one off here. Hold the Shift T, change the orientation. Grab this one off the limitations toolbar, and I will basically maybe pull then the transformation toolbar off. Okay, so these are the toolbars I'm going to work with here. I'm going to put them over in this area here. Selection filter I don't need on now, so I'm going to turn that off. Sketch tools over here. Make sure your sketch tools does appear. That's where you can go and change lines from construction to geometry line and so on. Again, the first one I'll pick is going to be a rectangle, and again I'm placing the rectangle generally in this area here. It doesn't really matter what size I'm at. Okay, so coming over here, I'm going to look directly at it. Okay, so there's my orientation of the rectangle. Now notice it's white, so I can basically move sides of it, make it bigger or smaller. Okay, move points, making it bigger and smaller, and then by window crossing around it, I can grab the whole entity and move it. Okay. So now with that said, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some constraints on here. Drag the constraint toolbar over here, put it up top here, double click on it, and again I'll say, well, I want this to be the size from here to here. It comes in with a value of 3.752, it doesn't matter. Over here, this value here. Now let's check some things on it. Okay, I'm going to kick back out of here, and now I'm going to grab just one side of this thing. Notice now how the shape stays in place. Okay, now as the shape stays in place, that means geometrically sized and with geometric constraints, this feature is constrained. It's fully constrained, but it's not located. Okay, remember you have different types of constraints. You have geometric, and you also have dimensional constraints. Geometric, you can see in here parallelism as they highlight over there. Okay, H meaning parallel to the H here, V being parallel to here. Length is a dimensional constraint. Length there is a dimensional constraint. And again, there's two different types of dimensional constraints. There's size and there's location. So what we've yet to do on this one is actually give you the location, or controlling the location of where this part is. Remember, white's not constrained. So I'm going to double click on this toolbar here. I'm going to go under constraints. I'm going to go under origin. I'm going to grab then this point. Notice if I hover to this point, I'm going to say from that point right there to there. Notice it gives me a shortest distance value. Okay, and if I go to that, I can make this a vertical measure. Okay, to there. And now notice that these sizes here, from here to here we know, thus that's being constrained. So then I'll grab the point again, going back to the origin here, and again this time I will give it a horizontal measure, and now notice that this thing is totally constrained, size-wise. So again, let's make this value 60, for example. Change the value of it to 60, and let's make this value equal to half that. So I'm grabbing the equal sign. I'm going to grab then the 3.78. Okay, now notice here, why did it do that? That's interesting. Let's try this again. Equal sign here. Grab that one. Wait a minute here, I must have grabbed the wrong one. Let's cancel here. Where am I at here? I want to get this one's the one I want to go equal to. I was trying to grab the same one to make that one 69. Notice it's going to get to be the same size, but notice it puts that little formula in there. Now if I go into the formula editor here, I can say, well, let's take that value and divide it by 2. So now as this one changes here, this is going to become half of it. And let's just give a value here, 50 away from here, and then a value of 50 again away from here. Now notice this thing is totally constrained. It's all green. Okay, I'm going to pull these constraints over here where they're easier to see. Okay, so locate that one here. Okay, easier to see. Pull this one up here maybe. And now if you look at this now, you put these constraints on here, you can move them around by grabbing the arrows. It's easy to keep these things cleaned up for future use. So again, I've cleaned these things up a little bit. The sketch is totally green. I exit out of the sketcher here, and I'm into this ISO organization here. Notice that the sketch is highlighted. Notice there's nothing on there that looks out of the ordinary. So this time I'm just going to make a pad out of this one. And you know, we could say, well, that length could be 20, or it could be equal to the 60 value. Okay, and then if we go in here and change this one, okay, divided by 3 this time. Okay, so now this is controlling this, okay, and then we have this thing totally constrained. Okay, so now we just have a prism sitting there in space. Okay, so let's go to another sketch plane. I'm just going to pick a different sketch plane here. I'm going to grab the YZ plane. Again, I'm going to create a sketch, and this time I'm going to make a cylinder out of it. I'm going to make it the easy way. I'm just going to come over here and put a circle out here somewhere. And let's size the circle. So let's give it a value here. And let's change that to 30. And now we can locate this circle. Okay, we can say, well, let's go from maybe this plane right here, top of that to there. And now that location of this is controlling the location of the circle. So then maybe you want this side here to control it right there. Okay, and then we could say, oh, that could be, we'll just leave that value right there. And then maybe change this to be 66. And then this one maybe is 2. Okay, it's totally green. Back out of this thing here. And now since it's already lit up here, we can say, okay, let's make that as some kind of value. Again, I'm just going to leave it at 20. And we have a cylinder here. Notice on this first pad, you should rename this thing to call it prism. Okay, and then this one here, we could call it a, the properties again here, positive cylinder, hit OK. So now we got the prism and the cylinder built. Let's build another one here. Let's grab it from this plane right in here. Let's build another sketch. And this time, let's go through and let's make a cone. So a cone needs to be spun around an axis. This is where you want to bring the axis. Command here, grab this thing here. Now again, if you get close to where that's blue, it automatically put the horizontal constraint on there. And at this time, then all you really have to do, and I'm going to use the profile tool, is to draw a triangle. So I'm going to go from there, say to there, get that blue there, back up to there. Okay, now let's do some constraining on this. So I'm going to make, let's say, this line, zoom up, make this line here, and that line, which is the axis line, I'm going to make those coincidental. So now that just puts that line right on that axis. Now let's go ahead and locate the axis so far over from the origin. So again, I'm going to go back in absolute coordinates. So I'm going to go from the origin here, and I have a value of 94. This is making 100. I don't know why, but I just did. And then we can say, okay, well, let's give a value of this side right in here. Okay, and I'm going to make that now 60. And then we can give a value of this side right over here. Let's see what that does. We're starting to get white. Well, let's go ahead and make that one again 100. Okay, now, so now at this point in time, notice that my axis is constrained. Okay, notice this geometry is constrained to here. But I got to give some more values on here because I've not had things located. So this time I'm going to go then from the bottom here to the top. And this time it's saying, oh, you got that one already constrained. So what's going wrong here, okay? So let's pull out of this thing and let's grab a point here. Okay, now notice that thing, it keeps the triangle shape and it's moving up and down. That means this line here is not, or this, it's not being controlled in an up-down movement. So I'm going to come over here and say I want to go from, let's say, this line here, I get it, to the origin. Did I get anything? Let's try this again. Let's go from the line to the origin. And then to do coincidence there, notice it's going to then make that thing totally green. Okay? So then I went and basically made this line coincidental with the origin. Check that against this one here. Back out of this thing. Okay, now notice, spin this around a little bit for ease of viewing. Notice we have a triangle. Now if we go into what they call the shaft command, it automatically is going to basically take, as shown down here, the sketch axis. We'll hit OK here, and then you have the cone made. Okay. Let's go back in our isometric viewpoint. Okay, let's do fit all in. Now let's go over here, and again, let's start some other one. This time, let's go again on the front plane. Let's see. It doesn't really matter. Let's sketch again. This time I'm going to do a torus. So again, I need an axis. So I'm going to put an axis on here. And then I need to locate that axis left and right. So again, I get into the sketch, get an absolute axis here. Then I want to turn my constraint. I want to say, well, I want this line to be this far over from the origin, right? You know, put it up in here a little bit. Yeah, let's just make that value 200. Okay. Now, so we have an axis that we can spin around. Now this time we're just going to put a circle in there. Put a circle out here somewhere. Okay. Well, let's size the circle. Give it some kind of value out here. Now what we have to do is locate the circle. Okay, we have to locate the circle. Well, one way you could go from the circle to the axis, bringing that value down, and let's say that value now is going to be 60. Now notice the circle cannot move left and right, but it can, oops, but it can't move left and right, but it can move up and down. So again, let's control the location of that. Let's say this time, let's control it from the top of this plane to that point. And now let's make that 120. So now there's the circle for the torus. It's going to spin around here, so backing back out of this, going into the shaft command. Notice it does pick the sketch axis, and so now we have the torus on here. Okay, we have the torus also on here. So let's pick another one here. I'm going to pick then, okay, I should go over here and I should basically rename this one here to positive cone, and let's rename this one here to positive torus. Okay, now we these features. And again, don't name the sketches, name the actual features. So then let's go, and again, I'm just going to grab on this view here. I'm going to create a sketch on this profile plane, and this time I'm going to make a sphere. Again, a sphere needs to be rotated around an axis. So there's my axis. So horizontal axis, or vertical, excuse me. And then I'm going to say, well, I want that axis location to be controlled by that right there. I'm going to make that coincidental, maybe. So now there is the axis of this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a circle in here. And grabbing the circle, I'm going to put it right on this. So if I get on the point down there, it's going to lock it right on there. Okay, let's give it a value. Okay, and let's go ahead and get that value right here. And let's make that value 60. And now what we want to do is I want to basically come and I want to trim this thing off. So this time I'm going to take, let's do a line. And we'll do a line right here and down here. Okay. Notice it's locking right on this thing. And then I'm just going to use the trim command. In this case here, I'm going to use the quick trim command. I'm going to get rid of that half of the circle. Okay. And then I'm going to come over here and say, well, I want to keep this part. And I want to keep that part. I want to keep this part. And I want to keep that part. Okay. So now, get out of the commands, and again, you're going to find that this thing is going to be able to move some interesting ways here. Okay. So then notice that this line here is what I thought I had locked down on this line here. I don't, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to say I want to get this line and this line here to be coincidental. Now that line is in place. Now if I come over here and grab this geometry, notice that it will be able to move up and down. Okay, so again, let's put a constraint on here. Let's see if I can get to the very top of this. Well, maybe the side of this. Oh, let's see here. Let me see if I can, there I got that maybe to there. And again, shortest distance, I want this then to be a vertical measure. Okay, from that point down. And let's change that to 200. Exit back out. Now, some other programs, you don't have to have this thing totally enclosed in, but in Getty you do. Exit that out. There's my sketch. Follow that sketch around 160 degrees or 360 degrees of the sketch axis, and then we have then the sphere. Okay, then we have the sphere. There's different ways you can build a pyramid. And I'm just going to demonstrate one here. So again, I'm going to grab any old plane here. I'm going to go into Sketch, and I am going to then sketch a rectangle out here. Well, I'm going to try to anyway. So there's my rectangle. Okay, I'm going to make it a little bit more looking like a rectangle here. And let's give it a size. One side of it here. And then let's give this other side here. Make this one equal to that one. Okay. And then let's go from this point here to that point there. Let's make that a vertical measure of something. And let's go from this side here. Oops. We'll do that. Then let's go from, let's make this bottom coincidental with, no, don't want that. I need to control it left and right. So let's go over here again. like I had the first time. I want to go from here, say to there, pull that down. Okay. Now let's go ahead and change this one to, let's say, 90. Let's change this into 50. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and exit out of here. Okay, and let's make a pad out of this. And let's just try 100. See what it looks like. Maybe try 150. So we have just a block out there at 150. Okay, so just a block out here at 150. Okay. So now let's say that I don't like that. Don't like that. So let's go back into this pad here. And again, I've been a lot smarter had I had this bottom sitting up in the air. Okay, the sketch plane then is basically a frontal length. So if I go into here and I grab, let's see if I can get this. Well, that darn thing. Let me see here. Hold on a minute. Let me collapse some of these. Okay, what is this one? Let's rename that the sphere while we're here. Okay, let's get that. And let's go to the sketch 6. Now, if I go down to sketch 6, I can do this thing called change sketch support. Okay, and before I do that, you get this external references. So I'm going to cancel this out, and I'm going to go into this sketch. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete then this dimension here and this dimension right here. They're external to the actual part. Okay, these dimensions are internal to that sketch. Those other ones were referring to other geometry. So I'm back out of this, and I'm going down here. I'm right-clicking. I'm saying, okay, let's sketch, change the sketch support. And now this time we can say, well, instead of it being in that orientation, let's change it to this one right there. Okay, now hit OK. Now notice that it basically takes that sketch and it goes back, and I don't like where it's at, so I'm going to grab it and pull it away from this thing here. And now I still want to locate it, so I'm going to make this 70. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to make this one 70. I like this 770. Okay. So now, again, I'm going to put my location constraints on. Opening up into here, opening up into here, going from the origin, let's say, to that point there. Shortest distance will be a horizontal measure. Let's put it about right there. Okay, grabbing in the origin. And let's grab this bottom point, or this top point here again. And this time let's make it a vertical measure. And maybe put it right there. Again, I'm going to clean these things with P0 values. So I'm going to call this 110. And change this one to 140. Now it's totally constrained in, backing back out its green. Now we have that prism sitting out here, okay? So now what we want to do is we want to actually go through here and we want to put some geometry uses reference on here. So I'm going to pull this out and I'm going to go down the bottom and I'm going to look for this icon right here, and it's called reference elements. So this time, because of experience, I know I need to put points, okay, some points on here. So, well, let me just see here. Let me see if I can put a line on here first. I'm going to try this. I'm going to go a line, and it's going to say point to point. Okay, so let's see if I can get a point out here. There's a point there. There's a point there. There's a line at that location. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Hit OK. And then let's put another line out here from that point there, that point there. Okay? So now what we do here, say, now I'm going to do this, hit OK. Now I'm also going to turn this thing, and I'm going to look at it from the, if I can get my mouse to cooperate with me. There we go. So I'm going to add some more points on here. Add a point right here. Hit OK. Add another point right there. Add another point there. And add another point right there. Add those points. And then, so I got 4 points here. And then I'm going to go over here. I'll say now I want to back off of here. Let me cancel here a second because it keeps okay. Grab the point again. I'm not sure what I got there. Coordinates on plane. That's interesting. I can't even get the thing where I had it before here. Oh, because that was a line, okay? So, let's see here. What do we have here? On plane, on curve. Let's put it on plane here, just see what happens. I don't like that one. Change the curve between. Let's see what it goes between. Okay, there we go. Point number 1 is going to be right there. Number 2 is going to be right there. Middle point. Okay. Now we have a point here, and that's interesting now because I could actually go through here and delete that line out of there. I want that clicked off. Let's see what happens. Oh, he doesn't like it. Okay, doesn't like it. So Control Z, because it was referencing the endpoints of those lines. So we do need the lines on there. So now looky here, looking at this. Okay, I've got point here, point here, point here, point here. Using the 2 lines as an intersection point to get centered in that location here. Now, notice that when you look down in here, that they've added these on as different pieces of geometry underneath this pad. These are reference geometry. So again, now this time what I'm going to do here is I'm going to see if I can find the command, which I think is right over here. If I pull this thing down and open it up, there's one here that is called the split command. I'm going to grab the split command, and it's going to say, what's the splitting elements? Okay, well, I have no splitting elements, so we're not going to do that yet. Let's back up here. So then I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to make some planes. Okay, so here's my plane dialog box. I'm going to say through 3 points. Okay, so then let's go here, 1, 2, and 3. And hit OK. There's one plane. Okay? And the next one will be then 1, 2, and 3. There's that plane. Hit OK. And then I'm going to go from, I want to go through 3 points. So now a lot of times at this location, find where the point is you're in question of. And it's this one. So I'm going to go this point, grab it, that point, and that point. Okay. And then finally then, I'm going to come over here and spin this thing around. And you can find that point again on the top, there. Off the specification tree there. and there. And hit OK, and then cancel. So now we've got these planes in here. Okay, we've got planes in here. Now this gets a little bit more complicated, but now if you go through here and say, okay, I want to grab then this split definition. The splitting element this time will be plane 1. And hit OK. Let's see what happens. Okay, it cuts that part of the object off, which is probably, ooh, see, you cut everything along there too. So you got to watch your placement is, okay? So I'm going to hit Control Z, bring that back. We'll try this again. Okay, splitting element. And I'm going to use plane 1 again. This time I'm going to turn this arrow the other direction. And I'll hit OK. And now it cut that part of the object off. Okay, again, I'm just going to demonstrate this because notice that plane is limitless, so it's going everywhere and cutting things off. So it might be in your best interest to go through here and do this one first. So again, clicking over here, again, I'm going to hit plane 2. And I'm going to hit OK here and see what happens. There, cut that off. Okay. And let's see here, is that what I want? That's the question. Yes, it is. Okay. So let's put plane 3. Hit OK here. Nope. Control Z, bring that back. Let's do this one by plane 3. Let's flip the arrow the other way. Hit OK. There that one is. And now we want to basically go, and one more time, plane 4. Where did plane 4 go? There it is. Let's try reversing it, because you want to go whatever's cut off. That did it just the opposite. I was wrong. Control Z. Plane 4 again. Turn the splitter on here. Double highlight that. Plane 4. Hit OK. And then you've got yourself a cone. Okay, now you've got all this geometry used for construction up here, so you could take all that geometry from line 1 down to split 4 and highlight them and then hit hide show. Oh, let's see here. Let's undo that. Let's go back from here to there. And let's basically go through here and turn it back on. And let's do maybe here. So let's go line 1 through plane 4. Let's hide these and see what happens. There you go. Now you got the cone built, okay? Now notice I split so much off this thing that I pretty much split all my other geometry out. But that'll give you an idea how to basically go back in here. And again, if I come into here, I should name, oops, don't want to do that. Right click on this thing and go to properties, and let's call this the positive I can spell. Suggestion being, do the pyramid first. That kind of saves this particular one. This is basically building the primitives. And so I hope this is helpful for you. And everybody have a good day, night, evening, whatever it may be. Have a good one. Bye-bye.